Okay, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to coil up and cut your own jump rings for chainmail. Jump rings are the little rings that make up the chainmail, but if you buy them separately, that's usually what they're called. So right now what I'm going to start with is I have this metal rod here that I have a hole drilled into, and I take this piece of wire that I've cut from my roll, and I'm going to insert it into the rod there, right into the hole. And I usually take a pair of channel locks, and I bend the tip over and secure it to the rod. Now you're going to find as you do this that you're going to develop your own way of doing things. The longer you do it, the more you're really going to learn. And the more you learn, the more you realize that you have some way that you're going to figure out how to do it that's going to be better than everyone else's. So next up, I have what's here called a mandrel, and this is just going to hold the rod. Now I have it set up so that I can attach these vice grips here onto the metal rod, and then I attach a second pair of vice grips to the first pair of vice grips. Got to tighten that up a little bit there. I didn't set that up right. And I take a glove, because this wire here, it gets very tight, and as it runs through your hands, it can get quite painful. So if you can get a little close here, you see, as I'm rotating this, you can see, oh, I did not tighten any of this up enough. That should be good. You're never going to get it perfect every time. You might be surprised if you get perfect half the time, especially if you haven't done it in a while. But you can see that as I'm rotating this, it starts to coil, and you start to get this long little ribbon there. Now while I'm doing this, what I want to stress is that the methods that you see me use here can be transferred to a lot of different materials. You can do this all kinds of different ways. You don't have to do it like I do it. Now you can, but you're going to have to remember that this works for me because of the materials that I have and the tools that I have. But what you need to do is you need to see what you have, and you need to see what works for this. Think about the materials that are available to you. Think to yourself, are these materials going to be able to handle this much stress? And if they are, and you're able to get it set up just right, you're going to be able to get a really good piece of material out of it. So just remember, a lot of this comes with practice. A lot of practice, a lot of hard work, and eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to be really proud of what you're making. So as you can see, I just make sure this aligns with the very edge of the last part of the ring that I'm doing. And by doing that, you can get a really tight coil, which makes it much easier to cut. Now, because of the way I've done it, once you do so many, it's all about efficiency. You're trying to cut down your time, cut down the energy spent. Now, this last bit here, I just roll over with my finger. Oh, it looks like it caught something. I've never had that before. So when you have an accident like that, you can just uncoil it, bend it back over. I'm just going to knock out whatever got in the way there, and we'll try to bend it back over. Now what's dangerous here, you don't want to just let go. If you're working with steel like I am, if you let it go, I'll show you, it's kind of dangerous. It can spin around, and I've had that get caught in gloves and injure my hands before. Not very fun. And if it's a long one, you can really whip the crap out of yourself. So you can see I've got a pretty good coil. The end there was a little messy, but that's a coil of wire. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to move over to my cutter. And if you do this, you might not have the same cutting setup as I do. I have a bolt cutter set in a pair of vise here. And I'm just going to be cutting off this end with a pair of diagonal cutters so I can unattach it from the bar. And it comes off just like that. A nice coil. So you might not have what I have. And if you don't, you can use something like a pair of diagonal cutters. It'll be more difficult, but if you're doing a whole ton of them, like you're making a shirt or something, you'll be really grateful if you have something like this. Now what I'll do is I like to start, you can just cut off a bit there, and you see two rings come off just like that. And you line up the edge with your cutters, and boom. When you get really good at it, you get fast. So I'm just going to cut the rest of this roll here. But with this setup, you can cut 2 at a time, which really speeds up the process. Let me tell you what. If you look at old manuscripts of people making chainmail, I think there's a wood carving of a man making chainmail on the Chainmail Wikipedia page. And you'll notice his tools. Something that I like to do is I'll go back to that every once in a while, and I'll look at the tools I'm using and the tools that he's using, and I see how he's making it. And based off of that, I like to change up what I'm doing to try to more match how they used to do it, because they did it with the most volume for the longest period of time, which tells me they probably knew what they were doing. So we're right at the end of the coil here. We only have a tiny bit left. If I were doing this for a piece that I was putting up for sale, I might go a little bit slower, pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing, but it's really not that hard. So last up, we have our ring. This one has a little schmutz, but look at that. Looks like chainmail, doesn't it? Now real quick, we'll take our pliers, and you have your open ring, and you have your closed ring. There's your seam. It's a little bit off here. The last one usually is a little weird. But yeah, piece of chainmail. And if you take your other ring there, open her up. There you go. Brand new chainmail rings. So go ahead and try that, and let me know if it works for you.